quick shout out to Tim. I met him when my first year in business, and I had no idea what printing really was. I was just starting to get into it, and I don't even know if he remembers this, he took me and another photographer out to lunch and just told me his story, and just really inspired me, and I've been a Color Ink customer ever since. So if you guys have not used Color Ink, definitely use them. Their quality is awesome. There's no question of that. But their customer service, guys, is amazing. And I've had them go the extra mile for me several times, and I'm grateful for it. It has not gone unnoticed. I'll tell you one time, talking about an extra mile, I was in a panic. I had a baby on my hip, and I was working for doing a show, and I needed a big picture for my logo. I'm sure they don't even remember this, but I couldn't get it shipped to me in time. I needed it the next day. And so Tim had one of his guys drive it down to Plainwell, and I remember opening the door, and he's like, here you go, and seriously, I had my baby on my hip. I'm like, thank you, and he leaves, and he's like, have a good one. And guys, that's awesome customer service, right? That was pretty sweet. So again, I'm a loyal customer. So definitely give them a try. And when he was talking about Uniprints, give them a try too. They're really great. So, all right, so we get started. I'm going to give you guys just a summary. I cannot see that. I'm going to look over there. I'm just going to literally be honing in right here about what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to talk about handling inquiries and booking the client. Prepping for the session, I'm going to go through some newborn posing that I try to do at each and every session. And then we're going to talk about selling our images, because in all honesty, that's what it's about, right? Selling our images. And then I'm going to have some Q&A time at the end. And if we have some time at the end, I'm going to go through a couple of marketing ideas that I use that has helped me through the last couple years of my business. First and foremost, I want to introduce Carrie. This is Carrie over here. This is my sales coordinator. If you guys can see her, she's probably like a silhouette to you, but that's her. And the reason why I'm introducing you to her is she helps me a lot on booking the client, and then she does all of my in-person sales. So if you guys have a question tonight and I'm busy, and you want to ask a question, she will answer the question like I would answer the question, so definitely find her if you have a question when it comes to in-person sales, because she runs that side of it now for me. Okay, here's just a couple sneak peeks into my studio. We moved here a year ago. My Facebook memory feed is showing me us renovating the studio a year ago, which was not the best memories. We were on a huge time crunch. We got kicked out of my old studio. It was a historical building that got sold, and they booted us out. So we found this place. It was, as you can see, a garage with some offices. So we worked hard to make it pretty. This is a room divider. Behind there is my office and my props, supplies, and all that. My very talented brother-in-law made that for me. It's a barnwood door, which is awesome. I love it. And here's just another look at our shooting area. It's actually about 15 feet wide right there from the wood backdrop to the light, and then it opens up to about 20 feet wide, which is great. So this is where we do all of our newborns. Here's a quick peek at one of my most important rooms in the studio, which is our view and order room. So this is where we sell our money, or sell our images to make our money to stay in business. So here's another look at it. Lots of products around so you guys can see. It's pretty simple. We do projection. If you can see, there's a projector back there, and then we pull the projector screen down and project our pictures that way. Okay, just a quick background on me. I got started in business in 2007. I opened my studio in 2009. And I started focusing on newborn photography in 2011. We had our second daughter in 2010, and I took her pictures, and they were pretty good. You know, I was like, hey, I really was liking newborn photography then, but I knew I was not at that professional level that I wanted to be at. So I wanted to show you guys this is not my daughter in 2010, this is another client, but I wanted to show this, that we're always learning and we're always progressing. So this is the froggy pose I'm sure you guys have heard about, and this was me on the left, self-taught, me just trying it without really any education at all, and on the right is what my froggy pose is looking like now with education behind me, and as you can see, we're always learning and always growing. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in and talk about inquiries and booking and how I do it, and yeah, let's just go from there. So the first thing first is to, obviously, when a client is looking for you, you need to have a good website. I see a lot of new photographers just starting out with a Facebook page, which is fine, but make it look good. I mean, if you're asking somebody to spend their money for you to handle their baby, you gotta look the part. And I can tell you that I would not purchase pictures from some of the Facebook pages that I've seen out there of other photographers. Just at least clean it up. It can be simple, it can be easy. You can see I just use a white background. It's pretty simple, nothing fancy. But make sure you got a good website. If you got questions on that afterwards, I'm happy to help you with that, get that started. The big tip I want to put out there is I'm always looking at other people's stuff as I'm talking to other photographers. Make sure your city and state is on your website. I was looking at 3 different websites this past week. None of them had the city and state on there. I have no idea where they're from. They reached out to me asking me a question, so I just went and kind of checked out their stuff, and I checked out their Facebook page. Nope, nothing on there. And same thing with their website. So just a tip, make sure you guys got your information on there, because you know, who's gonna know where you're from? All right, so when a client emails me, I use email templates. So I obviously set up these templates so that I'm not writing the same thing out every time. However, I try my best to start a conversation right away with them. So if I get an email that says, hey, I'm interested in newborn photography, can you tell me your rates, that kind of thing, I will send them back that generic template, but I will also say, so I'm so excited that or something like, congratulations on having a baby soon, this is a really exciting time for you, do you know if you're having a boy or girl, do you know when is your due date, do you have any styles or ideas or props that you were thinking of using, do you have siblings, will there be an older brother or sister in the pictures, are you looking at family pictures? So I ask a lot of questions too, mainly to like pass the ball off to them with the hope that they're going to pass it back to me. So don't just send out like, here's my link and I hope to hear from you and have a great day. You know, because we know that everybody's kind of checking everybody out. So I just like to hopefully get the dialogue going. We are this year starting to do pre-consultations with our newborns. In the past, we have not done them, but I am changing my thought on that. So if you don't know what a pre-consultation is, that's where the potential client comes in and meets with you, and you go through your whole spiel in person with them. And we haven't done them in the past before because Carrie and I are moms, and my philosophy at my studio has always been I work Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've trained my clients over and over. I am at that studio on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The rest of the days, I try not to be there as much as possible and work from home. So I just shied away from pre-consultations as much as possible. However, the way I'm looking at it now is the newborn is a great opportunity to have a very loyal, long-time client. So if you get it right with that newborn the first time and you wow them and you delight them, they're gonna keep coming back. So we're gonna start to do that more and more, and I'm excited to see where hopefully that turns into something good for us. So. All right, the other thing is to have your talk down and be confident. This was a hard thing for me when I was first getting started, was to sell myself. I think it's very hard for us to talk about ourselves and sell ourselves. And so one thing is, if you happen to talk to them on the phone, be confident in it. You know, you're wanting them to invest their money into you, so make sure your talk is down. Be upfront and clear with your pricing. I would much rather have that client or potential client say no right then and there than work with me, and it's a frustrating experience for both sides. I don't know if you guys have had some fall through the cracks where they come and they work with you and then it's always a budget issue. And that's really discouraging when that's the case, because you know they're not having the best experience, and unfortunately you're not bringing in the income that you know that you need with them. So I personally am okay with the no, so that it weeds out those clients that just aren't a good fit for us. All right, let's say on a positive note, they book you. They say, yes, let's do it. Let's get this started. So we use a company called 17 Hats. We, for years and years, used Shoot Q, and I switched a year ago to 17 Hats, and I would say I'm about 90% happy with them. I have a couple of tweaks that I'm hoping and praying and keep bugging them to fix, but one of the big things is online contracts and invoices. Now, I've been doing this for 8 years, And I have always kind of penny pinched when it comes to the department of credit cards. I hate credit card fees. Anybody else hate them? Hate them. I think it's so dumb that they charge us to swipe their card. But anyway, I would find any and all ways to not swipe a card. I almost took it personal that I didn't want to pay them. So for years I was like, all right, if you want to just send me a check, that's great. Now what happens when they say that? You're waiting for this check, right? And then they don't send the check. And then they come to the session and it's awkward to be like, I never got your check. And they're like, oh, I did, I sent it last week. It was just always this awkward, and I don't like to talk about that in front of the client. That's why I've hired a sales assistant, because I don't like to talk about that. So so what we do now is when they say, yes, I want to book you, we send them an online contract, and it goes through the whole spiel of the day, or what to expect when they're working with us. They digitally sign it, it comes back to us, and we're good there. And then we now send them an online invoice. So I have just given up on credit card fees, and I now call it a convenience fee. So a convenience fee for me, because it's so clean and easy for me to send them an invoice, they pay it, and we're done. Now you see right there on the third point, it says non-refundable session fee. Another huge thing for me, guys, is when I switched over and drew the line in the sand and said non-refundable session fee, because I would get people that would just not show up or not commit to it or say, well, we're not sure, that kind of thing, or they would, the big one was they just wouldn't show up, and that would really frustrate me. So now we say it can be rescheduled, but it can't be refunded. So, and you know what? They show up now, and it's pretty clean and pretty simple. So again, we use the program called 17 Hats, and it's been great. So we use it in all genres of our photography, and especially for newborns. So before I move on, I talk fast, and I'm really sorry. But before we move on, does anybody have any questions about that? Anything jump out at you? Good. Good. Do you guys all agree with that? Or no, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's move on to prepping for the session. So I'm going to go through what I use personally. Again, everybody has different things, different tools, but I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like for me. And I took this pullback setup a couple of weeks ago, just so that you can see. This is very typical when we're setting up for a newborn session. I'm going to start from the right and work to the left and explain to you guys everything that's in this picture. So the right is a reflector. This is a standalone reflector. This is my normal lighting setup with one light and one reflector in my studio. I've shot that way for about 8 years, and it's worked for me, and it's pretty easy. We do mainly babies and children and family in there, and it's worked great for us. So I do use the reflector sometimes on that beanbag, and other times I don't, but I wanted it in there for you guys to see. There's a better look of it and another picture here. That reflector is incredibly expensive. It took me about a year to decide to get it. It's about $300. It's really expensive. So the next thing is my PVC backdrop stand. I got that from Home Depot, went on Pinterest, awesome Pinterest, and found all the measurements. I took my phone to Home Depot and said, I need you to cut me this, and I need that joint, that joint, that joint. And then we put it all together. So we just take it apart and put it together when we need it. Heavy duty clamps, as you can see, for the blankets. I use 3 under blankets and then my backdrop blanket to help with bumps and all that kind of stuff. So I have a really chunky blanket, a fleece blanket, and then a thinner neutral blanket. And that's important to have that neutral blanket, so if you have a see-through backdrop of any kind, to have that blanket so that it blends better than maybe having like a purple or brown one. And then the backdrop blanket, which is right now on there, the gray one. The heating pad on low, I don't use this a lot, but I wanted to put it in there because sometimes I'll just put it on there so that when we're getting ready to put the baby on there, they're laying on a warm blanket versus a room temperature blanket. It makes a difference. So I use a newborn nest bean bag. I bought that thing a long time ago. Who's had fun filling their bean bags, right? Those are a riot. The first time we filled it, my assistant wore a jean skirt, And she had beans all over up in her, and we were laughing so hard, and then we were trying to vacuum them up, and it's like chasing a bubble. I mean, it was ridiculous. So we had a lot of fun with that. Those things are just a pain to fill. There's no, if anybody has any tips, let us know, but there's no easy way to fill those things. So. Next is a kneeling pad. If you guys have worked with a beanbag, a lot of times you're kneeling over for an extended amount of time. I use a kneeling pad, and then I also have just a step stool that I'll just sit on so that I can just kind of chill out and my back doesn't kill me by the end of the session. It always kills me by the end of the session, but it helps. Rolled up bird claws and receiving blankets. I have those all over the place. I recently bought some posing beans, they're called, and those things are really fun. Just to help position the baby. Space heater is like our magic sauce. So we love the space heater, we use it a lot. Sometimes that space heater can make or break a pose for us. And obviously use it as safety and all that kind of stuff, but honestly, those babies love that thing. I remember my little baby girl, I would put a space heater and change her diaper, and it was just, they just clunk right out on you. So we use that space heater a lot. Baby shusher, we'll talk about that in a little bit, and gloves. I will start out usually wearing gloves if my hands are freezing. I have cold hands, like right now my hands are very cold, and we work hard to get our babies to sleep, and when mom passes over a baby to me and I have ice cold hands, I've just completely negated everything that she did for me. So if I know that, I wear just stretch gloves, and I cut out my index finger top and my thumb top to then be able to position the baby until my hands get warm. So that is honestly the only main reason I wear them. All right, so let's talk about the light. I use a studio light, a strobe light. In my old studio, I had a huge 12-foot by 12-foot window, and I thought that was going to be like the most magical, wonderful thing, but as you can see, direct sunlight can be a challenge, and it was a challenge for me. So I got to the point once I learned the studio light, I just blocked out that light, and I used my studio light. It was consistent, it was easy, it was clean, it was beautiful. So what this is an Alien V400 strobe light. I'll show you another picture of it in a second. And then this is an 86-inch, not foot, inch PLM umbrella, which stands for Parabolic Light Modifier. And it's pretty much just a massive big umbrella. It's great. So it's simulating a huge window. So here's another look at it so you can see. The one thing is I want to point out here too is the light stand. This is a newer light stand for us, which allows it to go all the way down to the ground and then all the way up, which is really key when you're photographing a newborn on the floor, is to be able to have your light go all the way to the ground. Here's a close-up of it. If you guys are interested in this kind of product, I have the information right here. It's all through the Paul C. Buff Company. The umbrella and the strobe light is through them. The light stand is through Manfrotto. But I'm gonna go back here and just show you guys, this is my, again, normal setup that I do. It's really easy, nothing too fancy, light, cute baby on a couch, actually Tigger, and then a reflector. All right, so we also use a baby shusher. We got this on Amazon probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it's now like short-circuiting on us, so it shushes really funny. So it was like annoying shushing. It's like it's like so annoying. So we went back to the app on the phone. I have an old iPhone at the studio, and I just went back to the app on the phone. Maybe we need to change the battery, but usually when I have to change the battery on something, it means I throw it away and just buy a new one, because I just like, especially those weird batteries. So one thing, I can't figure out how to open the darn thing, so we should see if it's a battery thing. But anyway, we now use an app on our phone, but all it is just to have white noise going so that you're trying to lull that baby to sleep. Hand sanitizer. This is a big one too, that if you're handling somebody's most prized possession, their itty bitty brand new fresh baby, you want to make sure that they are seeing you use hand sanitizer so that you're showing them, hey, I care. That's really what it's all about right there. Puppy pads. Anybody use puppy pads? Yeah. These things are great. I use these on my bean bag, so underneath my blanket or my backdrop layer, it goes there, just to help so that when baby does, not if, but when they do pee or poo, it helps me to not have to do so much laundry. The other thing that comes in handy is I put a puppy pad underneath the baby when I'm working with the baby, and I'll show you in a minute, because if you don't, like right here, I made the mistake of not putting a puppy pad under here, and this baby pooped on me. And so, usually, there it goes. He got me right there. And so what I'm telling you guys is I realized, yeah, and he's in this like little knitted thing. I'm like, yeah, we're screwed. And then he finished the job off right here by peeing all over me. So right there, and it could have all been prevented if the mess on me, if I would have just had a puppy pad underneath me. So you get to see, I smelled like poop the rest of the session. So, yeah, and we had to like totally scrap that wrap because he got it good. So. All right, one thing is the passy. It's always like this, should we ask the mom if I can use a passy or not? It's always like this like scary thing. I straight up just ask them. I talk about it on the website when I send them my newborn information. I say, I would love it if you guys bring a passy, and I tell them why in the email. And again at the session, I'll just say, do you have a passy? And if they don't want to use a passy, they will tell me. But a lot of times I'll hear, well, we're working on the passy. They haven't really figured out yet. I'm like, I don't care, just give me that passy. Because I find that they just need that distraction, that soothing while I'm, wrestling them into a pose. So just like if you guys have on your website, just information again, just telling them, I want a passy, I want a passy, I want a passy, bring a passy. And if they tell me I don't have a passy, I'll say, well, I have one. I always keep a couple in stock and keep them nice and clean. And we've had to do that a couple times where we just bring out the passy, and it's one of my best friends next to the space heater. So. Baby wipes, for obvious reasons. We need lots of baby wipes. We also have supplies of bottled water because most of the moms are nursing, and we want to make sure that they are well hydrated because they're there for about 3 hours, and I'm thirsty, so I know they've got to be thirsty, so we always have bottled water ready. This is our front room, and I'm showing this because we have that pink trunk there with toys for kids. This is key. We always encourage the kids to eventually leave, maybe go out to lunch or something like that, the older siblings with dad. So we will photograph siblings first, family, and then siblings, and then we will do just the newborn. So we always encourage them to have an option to leave if possible, to go to lunch or something. But if they can't or won't, we have toys. All right, moving on a little bit here, talking about what's in my bag and what I use. I have Canon 5D Mark IVs, and then I shoot most of my session with the 50 millimeter 1.2. I've had that lens for a long time, and it's been a very good trusty friend of mine. And I recently got the Sigma 35 millimeter, but the Mark IV and the Sigma are not friends yet. There's something not happening right there, and it's frustrating to me, so I'm not using that lens at the moment. So I've gone to my 24-70, and I use that for family pictures. When I'm shooting straight down, I use my 24-70, and then I'll use my 50 on the beanbag, and when I'm doing prop posing, I use my 50. And at the bottom there I have, don't forget the 100 macro, because we get those beautiful shots of the fingers, the lips, and the chins, and all that good stuff. Any questions on equipment right there? Everybody hanging on? All right, so we're gonna move on to posing.
I got a question.
Absolutely.
Do you use a meter at all?
I do not. I in-camera meter the whole time. And that's the beautiful thing about studio, is once you figure that out, that light, and then your settings. I'll go back and just show you real quick here, hopefully real quick if I can get to it. Right here, I shoot in studio on the beanbag at f2.2 or f2 so that I blur out that background on the beanbag. So my light, as you can see, it's at the lowest power. It has to be at the lowest power, I'm gonna blow it out. So when I'm shooting at f2, 2.2, I'm always at that lowest power the light is, and so I pretty much know what my settings are going to be. ISO 100, f2.2, I'm either at 200 or 1/60th of a second, and then then I will just adjust that flash power as needed. So, any other questions on that? Okay. Don't need to see that again. Okay, let's move on to posing. This is my most favorite pose, is the potato sack pose right now, because I can straight jacket them, okay? I heard a photographer use the term that you want to work with these babies and get as much as you can with them before they go feral on you. I thought that was a very good term, because it gets to a point where they are just done trying to sleep and us messing with them. And they go kind of feral on you. But this is one of my favorite poses because it's one that I love and I get a lot of variety out of it. But if I'm in a point where that baby is just really struggling to work with me, if I can wrap them up super tight in this potato sack pose, they usually just clunk out on me. So we're gonna go through a couple of different looks of the potato sack pose that I use. Yeah, Josh.
So you might be about to answer this, but
yeah.
When I look at that and you say you can get a lot of variety out of it, my brain doesn't really know how. So do you mind explaining?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's next, but
yes.
do you mind explaining how you
yes.
get variety out
That
of it?
is a great question. So when I first started potato sack pose, I try to do this pose first on the bean bag so that you get this look. And I'm going to show you step by step how I do this pose on the bean bag. But then usually what I do is I just lay the baby down and I'll get this shot and then I'll get closer. I don't think I have it there, but I'll get closer on their face, like shooting straight down on them, and get just their face so you get that look. And then you can even bring out your macro because they're all tight and they're good to go, and you can just start picking out body parts and getting that. So this is where you can get creative. The mom brought in these stuffed animals and said, how can we work these? And I'm like, hey, potato sack. I can totally do that. So, and she came back for the 6-month session, brought the animals again, and we had them sitting. So when they come back for the 1 year, it'll probably be him running away from the animals, but you know, it is what it is. So, but this is just the simple potato sack pose right here. And I love the potato sack pose for sibling. So because this is a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a newborn. And if you guys have photographed siblings, you pretty much know the newborns aren't the problem, it's that 3-year-old that is the problem, right? So what I've been doing is I've been wrapping up that baby clunks right out on me, and all I gotta do is worry about that 3-year-old so that I can get the shot. So she's literally, this 3-year-old was like crocodile rolling in and out of the shot. And so we just shove her back in there and we were able to get the shot. And it didn't bother her little sister at all because she's as snug as can be in her little straitjacket. So. Here's another transition into it. So this was just done a couple of weeks ago, and this little guy, again, he's kind of all over the place. So we just had her in her potato sack pose, put that pretty wrap on her, put her in the bed, and then we have brother standing on behind her. So. Here's just a pullback shot on the beanbag. I thought it was kind of cute. She was like sitting there like she looked like a pink marshmallow, and so I got that. But what it shows is how I'm going to set up for the vertical potato sack. She is sitting or lying in a shallow bowl that is sitting on top of my beanbag. So it's a bowl about this big, about like this, and it's underneath all of the layers, just again to help so you can't really see it. And that's just a little well so that she can sit in there and be kind of cozy. So what I'm going to do is show this video and talk through it of me doing the wrap for potato sack. So you go ahead and just curl up their feet nice and tight. And these are jersey, t-shirty type material. I got them at Joann Fabrics. And it's a really strong fabric, but it's stretchy. The key is stretchy if you go and buy these. And I just bought them in different colors. And then the other key when you're wrapping is it's tight. Like tighter than maybe what you think it needs to be. A lot of times we try to be so delicate with these little ones, but you want it to be tight. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull on that stretch, and then wrap it around. So as you can see, his little legs are wrapped up nice and tight, so he's kind of in like a fetal sitting position, and I'm pulling tight. I don't really care what the hands are doing right now. I'll worry about those later. But he was a really good boy and put his hands right where he was supposed to. So he made it really easy for me.
What size is that?
That's That is a good question. I can't even like visualize, like, I'm guessing 18 inches, and then they just cut 18 inches of the fabric. So what is that?
A yard?
A yard, thank you,
I
yeah.
think it's a yard.
A yard, okay, yep. And what I'm gonna do here is, this is the first wrap, as you can see, I'm tight going around his shoulders and all that, but I'm tighter on the legs, again, because they like to kick out of it. But you don't obviously want to be super tight up here, but it is still very strong up there, but it's tighter on the bottom, because I don't want him to even feel like he could pop out of it. It's that tight. So there's the first layer, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the gray layer, and we're going to skip that video just because it's repetitive and goes through the same thing. Maybe. And then the next layer is any kind of decorative layer. This is those stretchy knit ones that you see out there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap that around. If his hands were tucked down into his chest, I would just carefully bring his hands back out. But as you can see, he was such a good boy, and he put them right where he was supposed to. He even interlaced them for me. So that doesn't usually happen. Usually you're wrestling fingers. But as you can see, I'm trying to tuck in all of that under fabric so that you don't see it, and just make it look nice and smooth and pretty on here. You can see, look how relaxed he is. He's just like, yeah, this is awesome. Just wrap me up tight and do what you want with me, kind of thing. So, and I love this pose because they can be crying like crazy, and we can just wrap them up and they're good to go. So then I'll put on a cute hat, and he's ready for his potato sack pose. Pull the plug. Moment of truth. Yep. And they're good to go. And just on a side note, I like to do these sitting with them on my lap. I can use my legs then to help position them versus like doing it on the beanbag and wrapping them. I like doing it on my lap better. I feel like I have better control with them that way. Okay, so let's move on and show you how I set this up. It's honestly one of the easiest poses you can do, and it looks so cool. He's so tight and he's good to go. Set him right in that little well, and pretty easy, and it looks so stinking cute. So I'm getting ready for the assistant to come in, or the parent, whoever, and just spot and hold the baby. So what they do is they'll put their hand on the back of the head. I'll get the shot. They'll then move the hand to the back of the neck or the back, get the shot, and then I merge the two together in Photoshop and get something like that. So I just want to kiss him, so cute. So, all right, so the next pose we're going to go through is froggy pose. And I remember when I was learning froggy pose, it was the most frustrating thing. It still can be frustrating. I always put a disclaimer out when parents come in and they're like, I want that pose because we have it displayed. I'll just say, we'll give it our best. I said, it's honestly up to your child. I put all the responsibility on the child because some kids just don't do froggy pose. So one of the reasons why I do try to do froggy pose at every session is I sell my pictures individually. I do in-person sales. And you know what? When I get froggy pose, it sells every time. Every time. So I am going to try to do froggy pose if I can. It usually sells pretty big. So I'm going to try to sell that. All right, so again, here's the progression. With me being self-taught, you can look at the difference of the hands being curled versus the hands being, or the fingers being opened and a little more relaxed. And then the wrists being tight together as best you can. And then the toes and feet being present. And then the ledge. On the picture on the left, I'm pretty sure I used a boppy pillow back then because I didn't know what else to use. Versus now I use like a rolled up receiving blanket, so it's a harder edge on there. And I need to exit out of here to go to my first froggy pose. This is right here. And this is a little longer, it's like 8 minutes, so I'm going to double time it and talk through it because he and I wrestled for a few minutes to get into the pose. But you can see what I do is I just set him down behind that shelf of that receiving blanket, and I'm just going to start to soothe him, see if we calm him down, just get him to chill out and relax. So the goal is to keep those feet out in front of him like that, so that he is going to lean right, put his elbows right between his feet. Like I said, he at first was like not really buying this, so we wrestled for a little bit. So, and it looks a little choppy and kind of aggressive in faster motion, so don't judge me. Okay, so here, what I do is I put the hand on the first side and then I try to flip over and get the hand on the other side, and that's usually how I work my way into that pose. He's, as you can see, he's curling his fingers. He's not relaxed. He's not buying it just yet. But, and I shake him. I just wiggle him, wiggle, 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 wiggle like that. Just keep shaking him, see if I can calm him down. But he's not there yet. The other goal is try to keep those feet out, keep them separated out so that you can, once he's ready, get those elbows tucked in right in front or right between his feet. Look at him sucking on that pacifier, man. That pacifier is your best friend right there. He's just like, come on, trying to get some soothing out of that thing. So, yeah. In my head, I'm just going, come on, baby, come on, you can do it, you can do it. So I'm just pushing down on the back just to help give him a little bit better balance and get him propped up on that ledge, making sure he can balance himself. That's key. You don't want to take the picture with them, falling out of it. You want them to be able to balance.
What do you do about their umbilical cord and or like circumcision?
That is a great question. I'm going to talk a little bit about circumcision in a little bit here, but they can struggle with that. And that is a lot of the reasons why I can't get them to do it, if that is it. And I can't blame them. That's sore, that hurts, and so I get that. And there's not much you can do about that. So, and I'll just tell the moms that, and they'll be like, "Oh, I totally get it." They don't usually question me on that. So again, now we're just working on, he's relaxing, getting those fingers. Sometimes I can spend like 5 minutes on those stinking fingers and getting them straight. They'll just curl right in on them. We did a baby recently that was 2.5 days old. And you learn that babies still have this reflex where they are like tight as can be fisted. I could not get her fingers to open in froggy pose. And usually when they're a week old, that kind of thing, I can get it. But at 2.5 days old, boy, that reflex is strong. So she had her froggy pose with her fingers in. But her mom was happy at least that we got it. But the fun things you learn as you're working with these little ones. So again, just trying to get it, just keep working at it. Like in regular motion, again, this is 8 minutes that we're taking for this. And I'm going to show you guys quickly how I do it. If I was alone, I almost always have the mom help me or Carrie help me, that kind of thing. But I want you to see how you can do it alone. So I'm holding there, shooting, making sure I'm good, getting the shot, and then switching. All right, so there you go. And then you just,
What lens were you using?
that one I was using the 35mm lens, yep. I could not do that with the 50. I can barely do it with the 35. I have short arms. I was like, literally like, oh man, I can't reach it. But in all honesty, I just wanted you guys to see that it can be done by yourself. But I always get a spotter to help me. I'm much more successful when I have a spotter. So in this next one, Carrie is going to be helping me. Oops, don't go crazy on me. There we go. What we do is you can see I'm pulling that blanket tight just to help me with post-processing, getting those wrinkles out. It's tricky enough to merge these two pictures together. You don't need to be having wrinkles too. So the key is, guys, when you switch like that, you see I don't move. I just let Carrie move. I don't move at all, because what happens if you put your camera down and you move a little bit and then you put it back up, you've changed your distance. And then you're like, man, this does not merge together at all. What's going on here? So make sure, what I will do is I will tell Carrie, I'll say, remove your move your top hand, and I'll click, 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 and then I'll just tell her, okay, go ahead and move your bottom hand, click, 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 and then we'll go into that. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting another hat on. I'm gonna show you guys how I transition with my beanbag workflow into the next pose. And we're gonna talk about that in a few minutes here, my beanbag workflow, but this is going down into front taco. So I just bring him right down into what's called the front taco pose. And if it works out that I can keep his hands like that, it's super cute, but a lot of babies fight that. And so I think he does too, and I'm gonna pop his hand underneath his cheek here in a second. So what I'm doing is just bringing him up on the ledge to bring his little foot around, because the key with this one is you still want that foot with those toes peeking out behind the elbows. And then I am just gonna put his hand under there, under his cheek, so it behaves. Usually by this time, they pee or poop on your thing, so you feel pretty good when you're like getting through some of these and you're like, oh, we're doing good. So, but again, what I'm doing is just getting him in position so that he's fighting me, and it's normal, right? Normal newborn sessions are fighting you the whole time, so just want you guys to see how I work through that. Just patting his bottom, that's usually a good way to do it. Or if my assistant is videoing at the moment, so she couldn't pat his bottom, so I get to do it. But again, just working on getting that little foot out so that I can have those toes pop up behind his elbow. All right, and that is pretty much that, and he's gonna settle a little bit more, and then we will take the picture. But fix his little hat and call that good. Okay, let's move back to, here is the final image of that froggy. Oops, let me make this big for you guys. There you go. Merging those two pictures together, and there you go. The key again is having a hard ledge that helps so that they can balance themselves. If they're just slowly sinking into that, you're not going to be successful with that to help them balance themselves. And again, it's a composite, of course.
What are a couple examples again of things you could use as a hard ledge?
I would go down to my front taco, which is what you saw me transition down to, was front taco, and then you can transfer that into the neck. I'll show you my beanbag posing. I go into side taco pose too.
I just mean, sorry.
Oh, what did I use?
Yeah, as that.
It's receiving blankets.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a regular receiving blanket, a burp cloth, and just roll that up nice and tight like that. What I do is I actually have 3 of them, so I'll have 2 of them like this, and then I'll have one on top of it like this. So that helps give a nice ledge right there. It's not just one right here. I have create a V and then a T. Okay, so let's move on. Transitioning from pose to pose is key to keeping the baby asleep and compliant. And what that means is when I'm transferring a baby, like say I'm taking them off the beanbag, I'm not just scooping them up and like handing them to mom. You want to like keep the peace as much as possible. So I will literally like scoop them up into that fetal position and hold them really tight to me. And then if I need to help set up with a prop or a setup or anything like that, I will pass the baby off to mom. But again, you're just trying your best to keep that baby as snug as possible, because what happens is, they startle, and when they startle, they flail, and then they wake up. So again, just keeping them nice and tight that whole time as you're transitioning from different poses. So let's talk about beanbag workflow, what it looks like for me on the beanbag. These are the 7 poses that I try to do. I don't get them all done in one session. Sometimes babies give me like 4 of them. And I just kind of work my way through what they will let me do. I always start with froggy pose if the baby is sleepy enough to do that. So you guys saw froggy pose. So here's an example of all the different poses so that you can see. So froggy pose on the top left. Then transfer into front taco, which you guys saw me do, transfer into the front taco pose. And then side taco, I'm not gonna show that tonight, but all it is I would just pick the baby up, cross their feet, and then lay the baby back down. It sounds easy, but it's honestly one of the most difficult poses for me to do because they might still have their umbilical cords and they have been circumcised and they're not a fan of that when they're all scrunched up like that. Some of them, like girls, I find I have much more success with girls doing side taco pose. So again, I'll just pick them up and cross their little feet, their back foot over their top foot, and then just lay them back down. So, my favorite pose is bum up or bottoms up pose right there in the middle. So after side taco, if I feel like I got those good, I will change my backdrop. So I'll pick the baby up from side taco, again, hold them really tight to me. I'll have Carrie's change the backdrop, and then I'll go into bums up pose, and I'm gonna show you guys that in a minute, so that I get two varieties on the beanbag. After bums up, I try to go for chin up, and that's all that is just that, just changing their hand and their head position. So side lying, going into that, and then supine lying on their back. I can't go into all the techniques of all these poses because we don't have enough time, but I'm going to show you the ones that are the most popular for me. And my favorite again is bum up because there's so much variety in this pose. I can do this pose really easy. For some reason, babies do really good in bum up pose for me. So I will put them on anything in bums up pose, and they just do really good for me in this one. So stools like that, that top one with the Big B. The mom owns the Big B across the street from my studio. So she brought that stuff in, and oh man, it sold so good in her studio. So that's what we did for that one. And then obviously any kind of bed pose is really cute, or stroller. So here's some keys to think about to make your bum up pose look really squishy and put together. Is you want to keep that elbow and knee connected as much as you can. It helps if you have a really fat, squishy baby, but like this one, she was beautiful. She was so cute and squishy. But keeping those elbows and those knees together, and one way to do that, just a little trick, is just kind of turn them in a little bit. That'll help. But make sure you don't see too much butt crack. You know, we don't want nudity, so too much nudity. So just that will help you just kind of like squish them together a little bit more. Keep the hand under the cheek and the fingers flat. That's key for a clean look. And a lot of times I'll be fighting fingers for several minutes. Just keep pulling them out and putting them back, put it back where I want them. Bring the back foot in front on top, so their right foot goes over their left foot, so that it helps to boost their booty up in the air. And keeping the heel in line with the butt crack. That's a big thing too, so that you can see that little foot. It also helps to hide boy parts. To have this position with the foot like that versus the other way, so you're not seeing boy parts. So, no. Prop the head and then the feet with opposing beans or rolled up or cloth. So usually what I do is once I get them here, I'll just then add a roll or opposing bean and prop the head up. Then I'll come over to the other side and do it on their butt. And if I don't like it enough, I'll do it again on the side and then again. So, any questions? Talking a little bit about props here, bucket poses. This little one did not want to go in the bucket. She struggled with it. So when babies struggle, and you can feel that, I will get a safe shot first. So this is my safe shot. It's not edited, but I wanted you guys to see. She wanted to do this. She just wanted to go down like that. And she was putting up a fight. She was fighting it pretty good. So I wanted to show you guys this, like if all else fails, we're gonna at least try to get a safe shot. It's not what I wanted, but we're gonna get it. And what we did after this is I gave her back to mom. Mom fed her the magic juice and she went back to sleep. So, and then we were able to work on this pose, which was what I envisioned. So I have blankets at the bottom third of the bucket for cushy support. And then baby goes into the bucket with their legs folded. So I just fold their legs so they're sitting like kind of in that fetal position, and then put them in close to the front edge of the bucket. And then you pull those elbows out, and then you just start working on hands under chin. So, and it takes sometimes it takes a long time to get them to do this pose. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll be sitting there for almost 10, 15 minutes to get it. So, and honestly, it's just them trying to get comfy. I mean, I can't imagine I would fall asleep like that, so I can't blame them. So. Bed props. This is a great one too. Again, we talked about the potato sack wrap. I will transition into a bed pose and do something like this where I'll just unwrap the baby like halfway, and so their legs are still nice and secure, and then just do a completely different look right here. So this is one of those rainbow babies. You guys know the rainbow baby symbolism, miracle baby. So this is what we did for this mom right here. Here is another bed pose. Again, wrapped up in potato sacks, super easy. This was just one we did last week. Any questions on that? You doing okay? I want to talk about wrapping. There is like a cajillion different ways to wrap, right? And some of them are pretty crazy intense, but I'm just going to show you guys the most recent wrap that we did and the challenge with that. But it was like the super easiest wrap. For this one, all I did was lay out that red scarf, put the baby in it, and then I just wrapped the wrap and kind of tucked it in, and she settled right into that. But what I'm going to do is show you guys, this is a baby we did recently, and she was not sleeping. And this is great because it's good to see, you know, the challenges of it. And so she's content, but she just wasn't sleeping. And I'm not a big fan of these stretchy wraps to really hold a baby in. I would have preferred her to be pretty zonked out to be able to do this much easier. So all I did was have that wrap opened up, and then I started to wrap one side and tuck it around, and I'm going to just kind of tuck it around her shoulders, as you'll see, just keep tucking it around. You can see I'm using, I try to use my belly to hold the feet and the knees somewhat still so she doesn't kick out of that. You feel like you're kind of just like wrestling all appendages when you're doing this, but she's but this wrap for me is like, it's not as strong as I would like it to be when they're fighting you. So here I'm just going to show you again. See the puppy pad? I've learned my lesson. I use a puppy pad. So. And what I'm going to do here at the end is I take that end that's wrapped around and then the other tail, and I'm going to tie a knot. And this is key, again, when you're not using super strong wraps, is I tie a knot, and you're going to see what I put her in. I'm going to put her in like a bucket of fluff, and I'll just tuck that knot and that tail underneath so you can't see it. But that knot at least helps hold her in a little bit. But again, she's just like, whatever, lady. I'm going to bust out of this, no problem. And she did. She busted out of it a lot. We were just, yeah, she was trying her best. So 45 minutes later, we got this. So there's a lot of compromise that happened in this shot. So, I mean, we had to redo it over and over and over again, like go back, rewrap her up as best that we could. But I was able to keep the integrity of the bottom of it because of that knot. So I had that knot tight, and she was busting out with her hands all the time, but her feet didn't, they would bust out a little bit, but I could bring it all back together. And I love this fluff. This is called wool fluff. I just bought some more of it. It's from Oh So Fleeting. So Oh So Fleeting. And she sells all different colors of it. It's just wool fluff, and it works great. And you can clone and Photoshop in gaps and like tuck it all in. I love this stuff. It's very forgiving. You will have to cut out poop or pee because you can't really wash this stuff. But anyway, her hands are not at all how I like them. If I touched her hands, she flailed her arms. So after 45 minutes, I just said, forget it. You know, I was like, we're just going to get the shot. So I'm standing on a ladder with my 24-70, shooting straight down on her to get this shot. And I'm shooting this at like 5.6 to give myself a little bit of liberty if I miss a shot, because I can't stand directly over her. So I literally had to do like one of these kind of numbers so that I could get her in focus. Any questions? Good. Okay, so we're going to talk about the next thing here. We're doing pretty good on time, which is great. So any questions about posing at all? Because I'm moving on to business. Yes?
When you're fully wrapping, I might have missed this in the beginning when you're using like the jersey wrap.
Yeah.
How are their legs, like their feet, are they crossed?
Yes, so I first start out with their legs crossed and tucked up to their belly. And then I will take that jersey and pull it up over it as much as I can. It's got give to it. It's got give this way, but it doesn't have a lot of give this way, so I kind of have to like pull it up. And then I use my belly to hold those feet in and then start wrapping. So, and a lot with that potato sack, I recommend you wrap in a diagonal, like up and around the shoulder, then up and around the shoulder, that kind of thing. I find it holds them in a little tighter. So, any other questions? That I got on Amazon. Okay, guys, this is like they call it like a beach blanket, but when you open it, it reeks. Okay, so wash it. I didn't wash it with anything else. I'm like, this thing is gonna bleed like nothing. I mean, it smells like ink, you know. So, but I got it on Amazon.
They have
So.
one at Glitz, I just saw them today.
Where?
Glitz.
What's that?
There's one in Holland.
Oh, okay. There you go. And I got one in blue as well. So, and you just got to make sure there's no wrinkles in it. That's the other key, you know, as you're doing it. Because as you can imagine, this is going to be very hard to Photoshop to fix wrinkles, right? So keep it straight. So, yes.
How do you like keep your cool when you have like a shot in mind and you're all set up and then like the baby like poops and like ruins like the whole thing you just set up? Like how do you like, let's say you just set up your dog clothes and you just like now I'm a mess. Like how do you like
Keep it calm, yeah.
I don't have kids obviously.
Okay, is anybody moms here? If that was your kid, you'd be like, I'm done, you're out of here, you know, you'd be like that. But if you're photographing somebody else's kids, I don't have that push my button so far, you know, like I'm done with you kind of thing. This girl did a good job. Like she won a lot. Like Carrie and I were both like, oh my word. I mean, she just would fight, but she wasn't mad at me. She just didn't want me to touch her hands. So if I got my way, I would have put her hands like right on her belly, you know, just so that she looks relaxed. But she wasn't gonna let me. So it's patience. I don't schedule anything else after a newborn session because it can sometimes take you a long time, like 45 minutes to get one shot. But that's where in-person sales comes in, because if you're selling like, hey, I'm just selling the whole gallery, you know, you make pennies on this shot or just a couple dollars on the shot. But I'm like, no, I want to make some good money on this shot. So yeah.
Typically, do you find mornings or afternoons better for newborn?
I've heard it said mornings are better. I haven't really found it to be either way. We will either do it at 10:30 or 1. So in all honesty, the tricky part is if they have a sibling that needs a nap. So I like it if there's a sibling coming 10:30 because they usually nap in the afternoon, so we can get them done and then they can be off the hook. So yes.
Where did you get the jersey wrap?
I just got it at Joanne Fabrics. It's called like t-shirt. It's t-shirt material. You can go and they have rolls of jersey knit, I think it's called. So yeah.
for the lighting for this? I know you showed us a setup where you had an element on the side, one reflector. Did you leave it like that or did you kind of move it a little bit because they're down on the floor now?
The light was off, like if she is right here, the light is right here. There's no reflector on this one.
Okay.
So you can see the shadow on her side of the face there. So but it's all the way down to the ground.
Still all the way down.
It's still all the way down to the ground, yep, to get that. That's a great question. And what I will do, because that light is so big, I will kind of turn it so it's coming down their face more too. So you can see it's kind of coming down her face versus going up her face. You don't want to light up the face, you want to light down the face. Anybody else? Good questions. Okay, let's talk business. So let's just keep ourselves in business so that we can photograph these cute babies, right? So, all right, so I don't want to turn this into a digital versus IPS or in-person sales discussion. I want it to be a pricing for profit discussion and making sure that we are pricing ourselves so that we can stay in business. So the big thing is we're creatives, we're artists, we are not nerds, or most of us aren't nerds. I hate doing my numbers, I really do, but I know the importance of my numbers. So I learned QuickBooks really early on in my business and learned my numbers. Remember I talked about the credit card fees? Like those are numbers I hate. So I tried to avoid them for the longest time and finally it was just one of those things I gave up. and called it a convenience fee. But knowing your numbers is a big thing, and what that means is, your equipment charges, your insurance. If you guys are photographing a baby and you're asking for money to photograph a baby, you had better have liability insurance. Okay, let me tell you the story about the circumcision, just so that you know that. I was photographing this baby, putting him in a pose. I can't remember which one it was, but he was on his belly. And I was starting to work, and I pulled my hand out, and there was blood on my hand. And enough to where I'm like, huh. And I rolled him over, and there was a puddle of blood about the size of his belly. And I could see at the circumcision site he was bleeding. So I quickly put a burp cloth on it and I just told the mom, I'm like, it looks like his circumcision site opened up a little bit, and she freaked out. Like, she's calling the pediatrician. First time mom, she's kind of freaking out, and I'm trying to keep my calm. And the whole time in my head, I'm thinking, I could be liable for this. I opened up his circumcision site. Not purposely, but I could be liable for this. So something like that, it was fine. The doctor said, you're fine, just keep pressure on it, and it was. And we actually got to finish the session. Obviously, I would change my blankets and that kind of thing. But to make sure that you have insurance, because that could escalate. Yes?
Are you a DBA or are you an LLC?
I am an LLC, but that's just within the last 2 years I decided to go that route. The big thing is just liability insurance, guys, and what that is if somebody does sue you, you do have insurance to be like, hey, let's take care of this. But I am an LLC as well to protect our personal assets. So yeah.
What insurance do you have?
What insurance? I just talked to the guy too. Farm Bureau Insurance is who I use, but it's going to run you about $50 a month. At least the kind that I have. I also shoot weddings. I have a boatload of equipment that I use because I shoot weddings. So all that equipment is insured, all these computers are insured, all that kind of stuff. So I have very specific insurance. I have like $1 million insurance policy, liability insurance policy. That's very standard in the insurance world. But it costs me about $50 a month to be insured equipment-wise and liability-wise. So, any questions? Get insured, guys. I'm not joking. You do not want to be that statistic. So, yeah. The other big thing is taxes. If you're running a legit business, a legal business, a moral business, all that kind of stuff, we have to pay our taxes, and that is our numbers. That goes into our numbers and figuring that out. I do not like paying taxes, but we got to pay our taxes. Yeah.
I hate taxes as well. Is it recommended 30%?
I do 30%. I do.
How is it, how do I word this? Maybe each session fee, put aside 30%? Like
Absolutely.
each thing you do, right?
Yep.
Each digital file, or anything like that?
Whatever you bring in is 30%. 30%. And then you charge 6% on top of that for sales tax. Yes.
I'm still waiting for that.
You got to get your sales tax figured out. We have to charge sales tax for this too, guys. Even if you're just doing digital files, you have to charge sales tax. Yes.
If you're charging separately for a session fee and then for your products, or
Yes, you have to charge sales tax for both.
sales tax for
Yep.
session as well? Okay.
Yep, there was a huge discussion about this several years ago, and my accountant that I have now is awesome. I'm so blessed to have him. He's an auditor for Kellogg, the cereal company, and so he knows Michigan taxes backwards and forwards, and he's like, you have to charge sales tax. He's like, that will be, and if you don't, and you get audited, they are going to backlog you from day one, and they're going to make you pay sales tax from all the way from then. So I'm like, all right, don't need to say anymore. So yes, the session fee and your end product has to be. So okay, so we talked about that. Setting goals. I think as artists, a lot of times we just like set a price and hope and pray that it works, right? So I set goals. I'm pretty specific about why I set my pricing for what it is. And the main reason for I have these goals and I have these hard numbers is I want to be confident in my why for my pricing, so that when a client pushes back on my pricing, I'm not going to get my feelings hurt, because I think a lot of times we as creatives get our feelings hurt when they push back on our pricing. It's because it's business, and I say, I don't want to go back to my healthcare job, okay? That is my why. That is why I price the way I price, and I stick with my prices the way that they are, and I don't give in, because I know my numbers at what I need to be profitable, so I don't have to go back to my healthcare job. It was a great job, but I love this way more. So, any questions on that?
Do you get a lot of pushback?
I get a lot of no's initially. I sure do. Yep. Just to give you a range, I charge $225 for a newborn session. That includes nothing but an 8x10. And the only reason I put an 8x10 is there so they don't ask the question, does that include digital files? Nope, just an 8x10. And that's the whole reason that I've put that in there. So. I have thick skin for the no. That just kind of goes along with that. I've just had to learn to be like, it's okay. Because remember I said in the beginning that you don't want to work with a client who is not in your budget range because it's frustrating for them. They're not having that experience that you want them to have. And it's frustrating for you that you are working hard knowing that you're not going to make the money that you deserve. So, yeah.
For your newborn sessions, did you say they're about 3 hours long?
Yep. I block out 3 hours, sometimes 2, sometimes a little longer. It just depends on how the baby's doing. So, any other questions? Okay, let's keep going. So if you are charging, if you're charging just a rate like a shoot and burn photographer, I'm going to give you guys a challenge tonight. I'm going to ask you guys to go home and consider charging a session fee completely separate from your end product. So if you say, I charge $300 for a newborn session that includes my time and all the files, I'm going to suggest that you guys say, no, I'm going to charge a session fee of $100, and that's just for my time. And you collect that is non-refundable, that is just for you to shoot it, to pay for your daycare, to pay for your expenses, pay for your insurance, all that kind of stuff. That's just the session fee. And then offer digital file packages. And what this does is, like what we do at our studio is we have a 10 digital file package and a 25 digital file package. We don't offer them all. We say 10 or 25. And the reason why we like this is because we're collecting the session fee that's not at all attached to any kind of product. It's putting a value on your time. But what it's doing is you are educating the client that every digital file is worth something, okay? 45 minutes to take one picture, and if you just throw it into a gallery, I mean, don't even want to think about how much you really made off that picture. But if you tell your clients, you know what, you can pick 10, you can pick 25, or you can pick all of them, and then you have set prices for that. What that's doing is it's putting a value instantly on every digital file. We do not Photoshop edit our pictures until we know what they're going to purchase. So when Carrie does a view and order, they are lightly edited in Lightroom, and she will then say, we will Photoshop these pictures when we know which ones you're going to order. And our clients are like, well, that makes sense. Why Photoshop pictures that we don't care about, right? So, and then they will sit there and go, which 10 do I like, or which 25 do I like, if they're going the digital file route, or they go the print route, yeah.
If they see like red skin, for example, that doesn't really like scare them away from.
That's a great question. What I'll do is I will edit but my two favorites, so that they can see the potential. They can be like, oh. And I do a Facebook preview of one of my favorite pictures, and they love that, and they can see that one that's perfection, like that one with the purple blanket. You know, they would see that kind of thing. But all the other ones in there are not edited yet in Photoshop. So, and you can get better at that with your lighting and all that kind of stuff, so that you're not constantly Photoshopping out tons and tons of red and that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's like when they see this red skin and whatnot, the parent, when you're doing the light edit, they're not like, oh, I don't like that, I don't want that.
We tell them in the email, and we educate them saying, these are not Photoshopped yet. Make your decision off of the expression, all that kind of stuff. We will fix the skin, we'll make it creamy, beautiful, that kind of thing. But we don't get a lot of kickback from that, do we? They know it. And yeah, if there's a baby that's like super acneed up, you know, I'll do some work on it. But yeah. Any other questions on that? Yeah.
I'm just starting out.
Yeah.
So I don't actually, all I do is charge $100 and then they get all of it. And that takes a lot of time to edit them.
Sure does.
How would you go about showing the client the pictures before you edit?
Well, if you're not doing an in-person sale where they come in and look at them, you can do an online gallery. So that's what we do. We kind of go against the norm. We don't bring the client in and they see the pictures for the first time. We do a 2-day preview. I got so much kickback from come in, place your order, see your pictures the first time and place your order. I get so much kickback from that, like, I can't make up my mind, I can't make up my mind. So a couple years ago, I switched to a 2-day preview. So I put them online. It's got an email, explains everything. These are not fully edited. You're gonna come in just 2 days is all I give them so that they can at least narrow down their favorites. That's how I tell them. And then they'll come in with Carrie and place their order. But if you do an online gallery, like you can put them up on unit prints or something like that. And what you can do then is tell them what to pick. And they pick their 10, and then I'll say, now I'm gonna go in and edit these and then give them to you, so. Make sense? Okay, yeah.
How many, images are in a typical gallery?
30 to 40. Depends on if there's siblings and family involved. So I do not overshoot, okay? Because again, that's an in-person sale philosophy. I do not overshoot. I don't show 100 images ever, even in a family session, so. Because you want them to value each picture and choose, and you don't want to overwhelm them, so. Been doing in-person sales for 8 years, and that has allowed me to be a profitable business. It can be frustrating sometimes, guys. I feel like the fish swimming against the current all the time. And I get the questions all the time. Do you just sell with the digital files? I do, but that's where the marketing comes in and working on getting the clients that I need. And like I said, if we have time, we will go ahead and talk about that a little bit here. But one of the cool things about in-person sales, and if anybody does in-person sales, is sometimes the element of surprise, right? A client will come in and will blow my mind what they'll spend. I'm like, wow, I just got a bonus today, and like, it's so cool. So, and you would never even have thought it. I'll have a client call me and be like, I need to get in next week. I'm like, all right, we'll rush and get them in, and it's, we don't even think twice about it. And then they'll just spend a lot of money, and that's really fun. It's really fun when a client is gushing over your work and they spend a lot of money, and you're like, yeah, this is so cool. I'm getting paid good money to do what I love, right? So, all right, so we do offer digital file collections, but we really encourage prints, portraits, and products. Our digital files are priced at a profit, but they're also priced to not be a savings from our print products. Nobody can come in and say, oh, I'm just gonna get the files. No, they're gonna be like, maybe I'll reconsider those print products. So, but people will come in, and some are digital file clients all the way, and some are print product clients all the way. So, yeah.
Do you offer payment plans?
We do offer payment plans. We don't get them that much. We really don't. We really don't, do we?
Not since me.
Okay, Carrie's been with me for a little over a year, and not since her, all right. We used to when we would suggest it, but we don't suggest it anymore, and if they ask for it, we'll do it, but we really don't, so.
Sometimes back down and then when they pick up.
Yeah, but that's pretty rare. It really is, so. When you show it at sales, have samples help. Get them from Color Inc. It really helps. When I'm talking to clients at the beginning all the time. First emails, all that kind of stuff, talking about wall portraits. I'm going to assume that you're going to order some prints and some wall portraits, that you're not just coming in for digital files. I had a past bride and groom come in a couple weeks ago. I taught a mommy photography class. They came in to learn their camera. It was just a basic photography class. I have a big canvas in my gallery room of the two of them. And she was like, oh my word. She's like, I had no idea that's what it would look like on canvas. Because she's like, I got that image printed at Walgreens. And I'm like, it better be better. So it was just, it was like all of a sudden it was just like dawned on her. She's like, I'm gonna order that canvas someday. I'm gonna order that. I don't know if she really will for me or not, but it was just kind of cool to see her be like this light bulb, like, oh wow, that's gorgeous. So anyway, one thing I wrote on here is value yourself, yes, but it's business. Okay, I think so many times we put it on our feelings and, oh, should I do this, shouldn't I? It's business. Think of it like that way, okay, guys? I want to stay in business and I want to be profitable, because if you are not profitable, you become discouraged. You get burnout, you feel devalued, and you have to give up. Profit not only allows you to continue and grow your business, but earn a living, and there is nothing wrong with that. Last tip I'm going to give you before we do a couple quick question and answers, and then it looks like I might have time for the marketing part, is somebody told me this a long time ago. Have you guys ever heard of Sarah Petty? Because she's like photography marketing guru. She's awesome. She runs like a very, very profitable photography business, and I've learned a lot of my marketing from her. Sarah Petty, Petty. She said, it is okay to charge more than you can personally afford. Now, when I was starting out, I based my pricing off of what I thought I was worth in the sense of what I could afford. I don't do that anymore. I can't afford myself for what I charge for weddings. And that's okay. That is completely okay. All right, there's nothing wrong with that. I think so many times we just base it off of our heart and all that kind of stuff, but keep it business, guys. Know your numbers and know your business and be okay when you get the no. All right, I'm just gonna put this little plug in here. If you guys are like, oh my word, I need to learn more. Your flyer that you guys got in there, I'm offering one-on-one tutoring sessions. I have been doing that. If you need like a reference, hopefully Josh will give you a good reference. He did one with me a couple of months ago, and yeah. So what you would do is you'd come to my studio. I would bring in a newborn baby, and we would work right together, go through the whole thing. You guys shoot it, I shoot it. You can see how it all works. You feel good about it, angles, all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. If you book it in April, if you're like, let's do this, let's book it in April, you can get an extra hour free. That can cover business. I can show you how to edit, that kind of stuff too. So, all right, Q&A. Any questions? Yes.
Do you do anything with like teaching Photoshop or Lightroom?
I do one-on-one tutoring sessions, just whatever people want. So they're 2-hour sessions, and so I'll have people come down and be like, teach me how to use a flash. And so I'll teach them how to use Flash. And then if you want editing or Photoshop, you're like, show me how you do that composite, merging the pictures together, and we'll go through that. So, yep.
How much do you charge?
It's $250 for the 2 hours. So, make sure I got that right. So, yeah.
How do you determine the price for your digital files?
I base it off of what I want to make at every session, or at least my smile. Like, yay, that's what I want to make. Or like, I want clients to spend this much on their prints, so then I'm gonna price my digital files that. I'm not gonna give my digital files away for less, right? So, yeah.
How long do you keep the files?
Our contract says up to 6 months, but we do archive them. They're on an online storage thing, but we do archive them. If they come, some of them will ask if they can come back. And we'll say, well, we do get rid of them after 6 months. Nobody ever comes back, okay? So get the sale at the ordering appointment. That is what it is. No one's coming back. That's an excuse, and I need to talk to my husband's an excuse. You know those are no's, okay? So, any other questions? Yeah.
Do you have a specific minimum that you require?
I sure do. It is $300 print order minimum. Or if they buy the files are way more than that. So that weeds out people right at the beginning. And I'll straight up tell them, this is our session fee, and then we have a $300 print order minimum. Is that okay for you? And then if they get, I need to talk to my husband about that, be like, all right, no problem, and end the call, and I know I'll never hear from them again, kind of thing. So I weed it out right away, because if I don't get a $300 order, I'm grouchy. I'm not happy, because I put a lot of work into that session. I need to at least make another $300. I charge $225 for my newborn session, plus a $300 print order gets me to a number where I'm like, all right, that was good. Any other questions?
Can you go back to the tax thing a minute?
Yeah.
That made me a little nervous. I've never charged on my service. I've always charged on print, digital files. But I thought a service was separate. Like if you go get a massage, I'm not paying for that service sales tax.
That is a great question. The way it was explained to me is that service, that session that you're doing is producing an end product. So you have to charge for it. It's kind of like if you still do an in-person sale, it's all kind of considered as one, but I'm charging sales tax for just the session fee and then the end product. But, or you can blend it all together, but you still gotta charge sales tax on the whole thing. Same thing like when I shoot weddings and I just give away, or I just do the digital files, gotta charge sales tax on the whole thing. So just, I was at first like, oh, I can't believe I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get so much kickback, especially on my weddings, because that's a lot of sales tax right there. No one's questioned me, ever. They're just like, oh, Michigan. I'm like, yeah, Michigan. You know, I'm just a sales collector. I'm just like the middleman. You know, it's not like, you know, you're keeping the money. It's really annoying. And honestly, just play it safe. You know, that's how I look at it. Just play it safe, charge sales tax. So, and I know you have to. My accountant, I trust him explicitly, and he knows. And I've heard it through the years. Got to. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
I guess at one point in time, like, how much do you have to make that would be, you know, because I'm kind of just, I do it more for family and friends, and I'm not really marketing myself to run a business, but I don't want to necessarily end up coming up, you know, I guess, how much do you have to make where you then have to turn it over to the tax?
Well, okay, what is it? $600. $600, yeah. Like when I pay a subcontractor to shoot weddings with me, if they make more than $600, I have to 1099 them, which means they gotta report that to the IRS. So, just plan on paying taxes. You know, so it's just the way it is, yeah. So I've heard it said that taxes are one of those things that can cause a business to fail because people don't prep for their taxes. So, I mean, it's one of my biggest expenses in my business is my taxes. But nothing I can do about it, right? So, yeah.
Do you break it down, like I think you mentioned it earlier about 30% or something like that? Do you, each sale, like 30% is going to taxes, 40% savings, or like do you?
I sure do. I do have that nerd side in me. I do. My husband's here. He is like nerd extreme. He's which is awesome. Like he handles our personal to like the nth degree, and I'll just like look at that and be like, oh, or like eyes crossed. But he has helped me with that as far as like the making sure I know my numbers. So I do, and it's kind of fun to me, you know, to see like it. Like I had to buy new cameras this year, and be like, hey, I can buy my new cameras this year because I've been saving, you know, through the years for cameras since the other ones, like it's been like 5 years. So I just tuck money away for new cameras when I need them, that kind of thing. So I do. 30% goes into the tax bucket, and then I have to pay rent, I have to pay carry, that kind of thing. So I do allocate it all out. Yep. I will say that I always make sure I pay myself. I think so many times in business we don't pay ourselves. And I write myself a check or transfer that money. I pay myself. And if I can't pay myself, I gotta look at those numbers again and be like, what's going on? Yeah, what needs to change? So, any other questions? Yeah.
Do you ever have, I noticed in your videos you look comfortable, you're in comfortable clothing.
Oh yeah.
Do you worry about not looking professional enough?
Not on a newborn session.
I do in-home newborns, so.
If you come in cute yoga pants and she's got that cute little newborn shirt. I buy these shirts all the time, like these cute newborn shirts, and that's what I wear. Yeah, because then you get pooped on, and then I usually have a change of a shirt there at the studio and just change. Now what I'm doing, I will wear, you know, a head wrap, that kind of thing. But when it comes to the in-person sales, like Carrie dresses way more professionally than I do. Okay, because she's business, you know, she's like, you're going to spend some money today, so she looks the part. I mean, she doesn't come in yoga pants and a t-shirt and her head in a wrap. She might want to some days, but she doesn't. So, but that is a great question. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, let's talk a little bit about marketing. It'll take about less than 10 minutes, okay? Because I think this is a big thing, because you're like, well, that's all great what you just said, but where are you finding your clients, right? And this is always an uphill battle. It never gets easier. It really doesn't. I feel like this is one of the most challenging parts of my business, especially as I've been doing it for 8 years now and seeing the competition that's out there. I've heard it said that as photographers, we're not competing with cheap photographers, we're competing with free photographers, and that is so true, right? So I have to find those clients that value my work and are willing to pay for it. So the biggest one, it's always going to be the same one out there in Marketing 101, is word of mouth. So the clients that you have right now, delight them, make them happy, throw them so that they are like talking about you on social media, that they want to their friends. I love it when they're ordering wall portraits. Their friends come over and be like, oh my word, that's so gorgeous. Where did you get that done? And so you can tell them. So that is the biggest thing for me is word of mouth. I will ask potential clients, how did you hear about me? And it's not Facebook, it's their friend. I hear that all the time. It may be their friend on Facebook showing the picture and then they talk to their friend in person about me, that kind of thing. So it's all kind of a circle, but it's word of mouth. The other big one, which takes up a lot of my time, is networking with other businesses. If you guys go to my blog tonight, you will see I'm featuring Little Sprout Children's Boutique, which is the children's boutique in Kalamazoo. And what I did is I did like a business interview of her business. So what I do is I go to other businesses and find those ones that have the same customers that I want. And they're reaching out to them just like I'm trying to, so we're kind of like all working together. So she's reaching out to those clients that are gonna pay good money for cute kids clothes, the organic stuff, the all natural kind of stuff. So what I did is when I reached out to her, there's a little bit of a trick little story because she's owned the store for 2 years, but the owner before that had it for 8 years. I knew the owner before. I befriended her. I bought from her. I became one of her customers. Having 2 little girls, man, you can spend some good money. So my weaknesses is boutique dresses, as Jamie knows, and I love them. And my girls are growing up way too fast, and I just try to buy more and more because they're so cute. So anyway, so I would buy from her and started to befriend her. And then I said, hey, you are reaching out to the same clients as I am. Let's sit down and let's brainstorm some ideas. I got some cool ideas of ways that I can help your business. You don't put it as like, hey, can I leave some postcards or business cards on your desk? And no, you don't do that. You find ways to help them, to serve them. If somebody came up to me and said, I can help make your business better, I got a really cool idea to work together, I'd be like, let's hear it, because I'm tired of doing it on my own, so let's hear it. But that is one way that I've gotten in with this children's boutique. So the new owner came in, and she was a past client of mine for a long time ago. I don't even know if she really remembered me, but she did. And she just came in and kind of breathed new life into the store. And it was a blessing in disguise, because she's like, all these pictures on the walls, I don't know who these photographers are. I'm taking them all down. I want you to fill my walls. Serious? And she paid for it. So when you walk into her store, it's all my pictures on her walls. Then I didn't ask for that. She just said, hey, I see you're doing cool things for me. Let's work together. So we do bag stuffers. I have postcards for her bags, for her cloud customers, and I do the same for her. So all of our products that are packaged, we put a card of hers in there too. So. And then I featured her today on the blog, and she was like, oh, that's so awesome. So yeah, I wish somebody would feature me on their blog. I think that's pretty cool. So. All right, social media. I do Facebook sneak peeks and marketing. I have found through the years that I'm not getting my ideal client off of Facebook, right? So no matter what price point you're at, you're always going to be more expensive for somebody, too expensive for somebody. But what I have found is Facebook has been great for my mini sessions, and that's another network or another marketing thing that I do is mini sessions, and that's coming up in a little bit here. But my moms that I am reaching out to, and my moms of my current clients, they're on Facebook, and so I will put images up for them on Facebook. So we always do a sneak peek, so I always do my favorite. I want to make sure I'm controlling what's going up on there. So here's another one. This one has been really good for me, but I've had to learn how to be smart about this. Is I do donate to charities, but I make sure I'm donating to the ones that I really like, because if one goes bad, if a client comes in and they're like, I just want whatever free thing you were given, I'll do it, but I want to make sure that I'm at least donating my time to something that I agree with. I don't donate to a charity for the hope that I'm going to make some money. I donate to the charity because I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. So Girls on the Run, March of Dimes, March for Babies, that kind of thing. Private schools I've donated to. That's the kind of stuff that, I'm like, I feel like I feel good about donating my service. So what I usually do is I donate my session fee and then an 8x10. It's valued around $200, $250. So they're literally just getting in the door for free with me. But they still have to buy all their prints and digital files. So I'm really cautious of who I'm donating to. Like our elementary school, we live in Plainwell, and our elementary school reached out to me and said, hey, would you mind giving a donation? We see that you're a photographer. And I'm like, oh, because I knew that wasn't the clientele I was looking for. I want to hone in very specifically. Not to sound snobbish, but I knew I could feel like an awkward moment coming. You know, I told them I would donate. I have little peanut sessions, or just mini sessions that I do, and I said I'll donate a little peanut session. And I haven't heard anything from that. So it was just a $50 value that I donated. I mean, they had things on there, you know, like the little gift baskets and stuff. But I'm careful with those donations because I want to make sure that those that are buying those bigger ones, those bigger charities, they're paying $100 or $200 a plate to be there at that charity event, that they have the expendable income to then invest in photography with me. So, make sense? Name recognition. This is another one. I mean, I've been doing it 8 years, and I've been hearing people say, oh, I know who you are, I know who you are. But that's because I've been working so hard on it for 8 years, is getting your name out there. The main salon that I work with for weddings and seniors and all that kind of stuff, I just met with her today, and I got a huge open door today with her. She's like, here's my walls. I just did a model shoot for her. She's like, fill my walls. I'm like, all right, sweet. And so let's do it. We're going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks. Stores, dentist office, that's another one I've been in, is a dentist office. And if you're lucky enough to get into an OBGYN office, I have not been able to do that yet. There's so much thick red tape when it comes to that. I have not been able to get into one yet. So, all right, yeah.
What do you mean by that?
OBGYN.
Take-
Because they're associated with the hospitals. And the owner of Little Sprout, her husband is a surgeon at the hospital, and she can't even get into the hospital. Yeah, and she's like, I'm going to keep working on that. But like, it's so bureaucratical. I'm like, if Similac can give away something like a backpack, you know, when a mom gives birth, why can't we put in like a local thing for, you know, from your local businesses? But we can't yet. So she's like, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to see if you and I can get it. I'm like, oh, please go for it, girl. Let's see what we can do. So, all right, let me talk about mini sessions, and then we'll call it good here, because I think this is one way that I have been able to get clients in. Getting potential clients in your door for the experience of working with you. Again, when I'm on Facebook, people see me and they're like, I love her, she's great, but I can't afford her. And then we'll do mini sessions, and they'll come in for the mini sessions, and some of them will turn into regular clients for me. Not all of them. We're doing mini sessions this weekend for spring. We got like 25 on the books. My goal is for 2 of them to turn into a regular client. We did some at Christmas, and we had one of them come in 2 weeks ago, and she placed a pretty good order for her 1-year session. So I look at it as, I make sure my mini sessions are definitely worth my time. They're priced that way. But my goal, it's a marketing thing, guys, is just to get people in the door and be like, wow them, delight them, and make them want to come back for more. I very much limit my sessions so I don't sabotage my regular sessions. Yes?
Do you do in-person sales for your mini sessions?
Okay, that's a great question. We do a spring mini session. We do not do in-person sales with those. We do Christmas mini sessions, and those are not either, because we know we're reaching a clientele that's not going to spend that much money, especially on like a Christmas theme. They're not going to buy, you know, a 20 by 24 wall portrait of that. So we know that. But again, they will turn into a regular session. That baby's 6 months old at Christmas. She came back at the 1 year, and she invested with us then. So, yeah.
Does your mini sessions also have that minimum turnover?
No, not for the spring or the Christmas. The way it is, it's $100 to come in, and they get 2 digital files. Then we upsell the rest, and they're priced very reasonably, like $40 a file or a whole set. So our goal is to make like $300 each one. But again, it's reaching a clientele that wouldn't come to us normally, but maybe 1 or 2 of them will come back because they're like, yeah, this is good stuff kind of thing. So, but it's not sabotaging my family sessions. I do fall family mini sessions. Those are offered at a discount, and then we do in-person sales. We do, because fall, fall and family is money, guys. So do fall family mini sessions. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, do you find that people wait for a mini session, like certain families will
Yes.
say, oh, when are your mini sessions?
Yes.
They do?
Yes, because and I'm okay with it because I know they're only ever going to be a mini session client to me. I have very faithful ones that'll sign up. For as soon as I opened up, I'm like, they're my Christmas and they're my. I was waiting for Christmas. I'll see them that spring, and that's okay. I get that they're not going to come back for a regular one. I will tell you this: I did a spring mini. She's only ever done spring minis with me. She referred her sister who booked her wedding with me in May. Right? And she booked a pretty good package. I was like, wow, this is great, you know? So you just never know. Again, it's that marketing filter, getting your name out there. So, yeah.
How long do your mini sessions last for shoot time?
I schedule them every 20 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay.
Yep.
And you do like one day, this is where I'm
Yep.
gonna be, you have to come to me.
Yep. So Saturday I'm doing 9 to 5. And Sunday I'm doing 12 to 3:30. So, great. Any questions? That's it. All right. I'm done.
Good job.
Thanks.
I love it. A lot of
All
good
right.
information.
All right.
We're gonna do a couple of giveaways right after, and we're gonna do a couple of giveaways, kind of like round up everything. And I love how you hit on the samples. We do coloring offers sample prints. We have free 5x7, so you can like test out our color. It's available in the Rhodes catalog, along with free shipping, that kind of stuff. We also have let's see, studio samples discounts, so that's offered every day if you want samples for your studio, we offer that. And I think with the top 2 tiers of our rewards program, we offer $200 in free product for studio samples and $400 in free studio samples. So that's something you can take advantage of. I love. And Ashley, do we have the names?
Yes.
All right. What are we giving away?
Yours.
We got, all right, let me have those little certificates. Or is that the,
We'll do this first.
ooh, which one is this?
This is the $25 print credit,
All right.
and if you win, you can just write it in the notes when you place an order that you want, and we'll credit you back.
Sound like a plan? Who wants to choose it? I'm not gonna choose it. Melissa, go ahead, choose away.
My name's not in there, unfortunately.
Who do we got? We have Jay Spining Photography. Does that name ring a bell? Spearing. S-P-I.
Over here.
All right, good. All right, just connect with us. All right, cool. Good. All right, we have that one. Okay.
For a 6x6 acrylic block.
6x6 acrylic. All
Those
right.
are awesome.
Yeah,
We love those
the
that are
acrylics, we sell a lot of acrylic blocks. Yeah, that guy right there. But it's 6x6. That's what I said.
Yeah, these are really cool, guys.
All right, here we go. Melissa, you want to hit that out? All right, here we go. Ooh, Brian Skull. All right, there you are, buddy. Good. This is yours. I'm gonna put your name right on it, right here. All right, what do we have next, Zach?
16 by 20 gallery.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll take that. Ooh, there we go. Robert Kerr. Yeah. Here's some salt. There you go, man. All right. We got more. We do.
6x6 hexagon wrap.
Ooh.
Or 9x9.
All right. That's a good one. That's a new product we're in the last couple of weeks, so they can clip them together. Pretty sweet. Holly Fetzer. Holly, you're it. And we have one, I think one more, right? You got it.
A 16 by 20 deep matte band.
Oh, favorite product. That is like my #1 product right there. I love that one. All right, here we go. Josh Weiland. Josh. You come get it. Awesome. All right. Well, that's about it. Hang around. I mean, that's kind of like how I started my photography business back in '94, and like networking with other business owners around the area. And that's kind of like one of the reasons we put on these events. So hang around, grab a cookie, meet somebody, feeling comfortable. And, yeah, we'll see you all next year. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Maybe down here. Yeah. No.
She was talking to her. She's probably done with all of us. Anyway, I just want to tell you like your hair. No, you won't. It looks like I have like
To turn on you in a second. Vaguely know where it is. And even and Nora's so fluid, they're gonna play shows with there. Yeah. Nora will be 11 and 6 December. So it's about 4.5. They're 10 and 6 right now. But still, no. You know, like in the summer, my mom and dad will watch them. Probably on Tuesday maybe, and then Nora, and they're sleeping, Nora's gonna watch. She would on Thursday. Yeah, they did it a little bit in last year and in the snow days, stuff like that. Yeah. So, I mean, it worked really good. Like, you know, we just tell them, you know, FedEx and UPS come along, and there's a car that comes in like weekly. It was in the winter, so they didn't go outside. I'm sure how it handles stuff. Yeah. Ours usually, our FedEx guy, like, for some reason, UPS pulls in, there's a turnaround and backs up. FedEx guy always pulls in and backs up. He just drives over my little state, like, the, you know, those little, they're not expensive. To show you where, like, the pot or where I pull the snow. Like, sometimes there's, you know, the tire track in the snow, and he's backed over, you know, it's ruined. It's like, just pull it in and use the turnaround and clear it. You don't have to, like, and it's not, our driveway is tricky, it's like, it's curved, so it's not like straight up. But it's, right, that's what the turn is for, yeah. You know, the UPS got used to it. You drive for a living, but you're still able to back up. Even if it is a little tricky, you know? No, because they're like, there's one ground, one air. Right. Yeah. I think ours is pretty good. Although, I knew my name for a while, I haven't seen it. Sometimes it's not. It's hard because they're not there. You know, because they come every day. Yeah, so it's only there Tuesday, Thursday. Otherwise, it's just sitting there. So they come, it's all good. And I think FedEx, I think they try to get around. Like, if you actually pay for your so it's like one scare and it's around. Like, sometimes you see two FedEx people the same day. Right, you don't have to overtime. Actually, you're running your own business. Pays the better. This is the first year she had employed. So it looks like it's really nice. Yeah, you gotta have like people want nice fat.
Good.
Probably your own. It's kind of like buying your own business, but it's, you know, there's always going to be FedEx, you know, I think you buy the world. Next, we'll get FedEx Ground, FedEx Air, you get them on the same day. It's separate. That would do it. Dropped it off my driveway. They're cool. Like we went to a men's conference last year. The photographer there had like conference with that. I think we go up to 500 meters, I think, and it could go like out, maybe not both 500 high out, but like he took it out over the lake. And, like, he had to go through like the class to do it because it could go so high. It was crazy. You know how high the thing was going up.
I remember we were at a conference too, I was area, so she was like, you just like standing there talking. Yeah, I was like, unnatural world. It's like, you can't like, it's not after, it's not, yeah, it's not super loud, but it's like, that's not bird. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there it is. And they produce think of like so much of that stuff was drone based, and that's why it changed like the way we are used to seeing
No, that's us. We're a big part of it.
That's why I'm like, Melissa. Yeah, Melissa.
I would do that too. But I would not be able to do what he's doing.
Like I feel everything. I feel like this is I'm going through that. But I'm used to it. So he was a youth minister for a long time? Yeah, for 5 years. And I came last year and he was when we came back here and he's never back to school. That was the day. I'm pointing like it's that way. It's a really good picture. And we don't know what's in it. We're all just like, now shooting towards the other side.
So bad.
Well, but the scary part about it is when you get to the other side, you know there's gonna be something. I'll ask Gary.
I haven't seen, yeah, no, I've seen it, but not since like a kid.
He like has to step off the cliff and then his leg comes out.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's a good movie. We just haven't watched it. Since I was a kid. They haven't shown it nor but like the cookies, right? Snake one, yeah. Or the one who rips the heart out of the dude. Yeah, I remember that.
That was like, I want to say it was number 3. I didn't because someone told me that happened and I didn't watch it. But I did watch it.
When you were trying to do this one, actually, and then I was like, screw this, I gotta put it in my
Where they like remade it and I love Shia.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. It was funny. It was fast.
Yeah, he has like the monkey, right? And the Temple Demon, isn't it? So they're eating food out of people. That one was kind of weird.
The first one is good too, and that was one I think I saw probably 2, maybe 3 times when I was that was one that but it also has it's crazy. They're trying to find the yeah, but then it's the shit.
Yeah, I hate seeing suits. But I don't think it's only that.
I guess it was like a small one, and there's no, right, I don't know. Well, it's trained. Just missed it. I know. Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
I'm teasing.
Yeah, actually, my translation and you can tell from your accent.
In Vegas had trained tigers, right? The white tiger. Big green and boy, was it? Yeah. These guys have lived in things for years and years.
Like, I just don't need it.
I don't even know if murder snake and long, you know, like, we live in the woods, right? Yeah. See more than I like.
I have some words that I don't even know who that baby is.
Melissa saw the blue racer last year in between the two garages, like at the Stones. It's like, it was the weekend at work, I'm gonna sleep for 2 hours. She comes and wakes me up in deep sleep, and she wants me to like, kill this thing or something. And I'm like, I'm not even, I can't even wake up. I'm so tired. And I finally go out there, it's like bright, sunny, and it's gone. I was like, I don't even know what you want me to do. I'm afraid to stay. It was like, I guess it was big. Those things are fast. Blue racers. I saw a small one. I don't think they're poisonous, but I think they're aggressive. If you mess with them, I think they would bite. From what I read later online. But, yeah, I saw a little one one time mowing in the yard, in the backyard. It was pretty fast. I think all we would have, I think the only one that's poisonous is Michigan. I haven't seen any of those, but people have told me that. I've seen pictures of them and people have mean, around us, we have one.
So
I don't know about the fees,
like in
but
schools back there with the kids who
yeah, in our area, they exist.
Just lay there, baby.
Not, yeah. But, it's either a video, I saw a still picture, it might have been on the video. They're like out. That still feels like.
Going camping in the UP, his family was there. Probably be a lot more careful. We are camping out here.
Do you guys have your vacation?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're doing the same kind of thing?
Yeah, we're doing. Our church goes to Michigan, like Hastings area. Kind of Memorial Day. Yeah, I think they were there. Yeah. Yeah, they're very nice. So we're gonna go there over Memorial Day. We're gonna go to the KOA in Covert. They call it South Haven. It's Covert. Campground of America.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it's a big chain of campgrounds. Franchise.
I think they do. No. No, it's got a pool. It's public. It's,
Some are nicer than others.
this one, Melissa did a wedding by the owners of the last. So we stayed there last year. We stayed there again. The girls really liked it.
Like you said, it's close.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes from town. No, this one's really nice. They got a really nice pool. I think there's some heater and a playground. Yeah, it's a public. Yeah, check it out. It's good. Then we go. North Michigan last year. Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna miss so much.
Yeah, just half day of doing nothing. So I have to teach her on Thursday. It'll be your last day. Then we're gonna go to the UP. We're doing the longer trip with like Marie. And then we're gonna go 2 nights at St. Ignace, and then drive like another 5 hours to Hoboken, the western end of UP where her family's at. And they have a little cottage out there that we're just gonna stay on. Just for the bathroom, basically. And the cottage hasn't been updated in 50 years. But we stayed there a few years ago, yes. But it's still the same, unfortunately. A lot of TLC in it.
Great.
And so we stayed there for like 3 nights. And then kind of break the trip out, stay at the city.
I've never been. So I've been to UP only to go to Burlington. So I really don't know.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. It's more western and northern part of UP. I've never seen Superior.
Okay. Yeah, because you drive right along the exterior once you get up. It's so pretty up there. It's so different. It feels like, yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder what people do for a living. Her family is up there. Probably when Nora's the baby, toured on the Carolinas. They take you like, there's a part of Michigan that's attached to it, like, and classrooms in it. And they just have a technology program. I think you ride on a tractor on a trailer and they drive you right into the 7th layer of this machine. And, like below it was like filled with water. It was like 90 levels, but it was like filled with water below that. They had like a drainage system so they filled up the water. You'd go in there and they could drive this tractor in there. It was so cool. it was cold, we had to wear the heating coats. There's so much different stuff to do.
Did she